Hello, and welcome to the debut episode of Hello, My Name Is. Of course, I am your host, Joe Cardoso, owner and operator of Team MBS Media. I know what you're thinking. Oh my God, another sports show, but I'm here to let you know this is not a sports show. It's anything but that. It is me having conversations with some people who I just think are cool, content creators, people who are doing things in the digital media space, a chance to talk to them, have a conversation, kind of find out the who, what, when, and where from those people. So like I said, this is our debut episode. I'm super excited. So if I'm talking 1,000 miles an hour, forgive me. It's just the passion and the excitement of starting a new project. I wanted to start the first episode off with somebody who I think has really made a name for themselves in digital media space. So at this time, I want to go ahead and bring on our inaugural first guest.
Yay!
Hello. Introduce yourself to the people, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marisa Cali. That is not a stage name. It's a real last name. It's legal. I have an ID. I have documents, everything. Just last week, someone asked me what my real name was because they had to put me on a guest list, and I said Cali. And they're like, oh, I thought that was your name because you're from California. Nope, it's my name.
That happened to you often? I hope not.
It does. It does. Well, people just think that you have a fake name because that's your stage name or whatever. But part of that is like you're always behind the scenes. You're the orchestrator, so to say, of all these different projects, and you're not really talking a lot, saying your name consistently. They might see it online on your profile, but if you're not constantly talking about your business or your impact in the digital media space, then people won't remember. So my hope is that 2024 people will start remembering that that's my last name and don't forget it.
Hey, I hope I can do my part to help that become a reality for you. And I want to thank you for coming on for sure. I'm excited to get this conversation rolling.
Yes.
So obviously you and I have been friends for a long time, but something I've always wanted to know. I never got a chance to ask you. So here's my opportunity. Let's just start from the beginning. How does someone go from the hustle and bustle of New York City to San Diego, California? And kind of what was that transition like for you going from the East Coast to the West Coast and that whole experience?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So born and raised in San Diego. Yeah. Did you want to move me back? Oh, okay. You're moving me around. You're getting me distracted, Joe. Sorry.
Make sure you're paying attention.
Yeah. I'm behind the scenes all the time. So my name obviously is Marisa. And like Joe said, I was in New York. I went there right after college. So I'm born and raised in San Diego. I was really fascinated with the city. I had wanted to get out of California back then. I don't know, something about, the draw of the city. I obviously was connected online. I knew AOL Instant Messenger. I was really exposed to like things outside of my existing city, and I made it happen. I set an intention back then. We weren't talking about intentions and manifesting back in 2003, but I made it happen. And I moved, found a place to live online, rentals.com or something, and moved into an apartment, lived there, did that hustle and bustle for about 10 years, and then moved back to San Diego, where my family's from, to be more present with the family. And, it kind of was the same thing. I know we're going to get into like why I started as a business owner, but it felt like a hustle and bustle, just in more of a laid back zone and with palm trees. So, it's the same thing. There's similar cities in terms of the hustle and bustle, the constant need to be everywhere and live up to certain aspects of your life. Where you work, who do you work for, how much do you make, what does your house look like, what car do you drive, and that just wasn't really aligned with who I was. And so after 8 years of living in San Diego, I was ready to make another change, and we moved to Tennessee. So we're currently in Tennessee, and it's almost been 3 years. Can you believe that, Joe?
That is actually crazy. 3 years? Really? I didn't think that at all.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you if you're coming up on your 1 year anniversary of moving out there.
No, it's been 3 years and I couldn't be happier. And actually, I'm doing way more traveling now as a Tennessean than I ever was as a New Yorker or San Diegan. So,
And that kind of leads me into my next question. Thanks for the layup there
mhm.
you just gave me. The
Yeah.
traveling aspect. You are somebody who
Yes.
really enjoys travel. What is it about traveling
Yes.
that kind of gets your juices flowing? Because that's something I always talk about wanting to do, but I still can't get it done for whatever reason.
Yeah. So, prior to like it being part of my business, I was always, like Joe said, a traveler. It was something that I was very always planning my next vacation. I think I put that in my Instagram profile, like when we were able to add like a little bio there. And it's so funny because that's kind of what I'm doing now, whether it's personal or work. And I think the allure of exploring different towns, how people are, and I would say towns or cities, depending on where I'm going, how people run, how people are really engaging with their community. I mean, there's different nuances of each community. And so that always intrigued me. I've always had a bucket list of where I want to go. I always get marketed to on Instagram or Facebook about booking your next travel. But it was definitely something not until last year or like late 2022 where I was like, I want to travel more, but I want to travel with work in mind. So not just draining my savings and spending all my money on putting it all on credit cards and traveling. It was more so I'm going to explore this country, and as I want to eventually go more abroad and really explore different towns, but also work and make an impact on what I'm doing in different areas.
So, like you talked about, college graduate, you're working the 9 to 5 like everybody else, and
Mhm.
then one day, I'm assuming it just hits you that this is not for me. I want to
Yeah.
go the entrepreneur route. Can you talk a little bit about how did that come about? Like, was it literally you at a lunch desk one day saying, "Screw this, I don't want to do this anymore"? Was it a planning stage where you thought about it for a few months and said, pros and cons list? How did you go about saying, you know what, entrepreneurship's the way I want to go?
That's funny because so when we moved from San Diego to, New York to San Diego, we wanted to go back to San Diego to be with family, but I was working a pretty decent job in New York City in Manhattan. I didn't hate it. So I wanted to continue working with the team. So I proposed that I work remotely. And this was in 2013. So this is pre-COVID, obviously. No one really was talking about it. It wasn't something that was posed to me. And I proposed it to them and they were open to it. It was awesome because we were obviously digital. So it wasn't really a matter of like not being able to get my work done. We were doing a lot of web-based project management work for this enterprise product that I was working on in digital marketing. So it wasn't a matter of I wouldn't be able to get my work done. It was just I was going to be in a different time zone. So I did that, and they had told me that that would be okay, but it would only be 6 months. And that was fine because I was like, okay, I'll move to San Diego and get a job. Well, I didn't get a job. It was hard for me to find a job there. I think it was just a matter of the pay structure was different. So I was demanding a little bit more than what I think San Diegans were getting paid at the time. And it also could have been a little bit of self-doubt. So 2 years later I actually got fired. I would say laid off, fired, whatever. I trained my replacement, which was hilarious. He learned everything that I knew, and then about 2 months after that, they let me go. And I was kind of forced into entrepreneurship, but I knew everything digital wise, like how to set up a Facebook page, how to project manage using Basecamp, how to manage a domain, how to work like a content strategy. There was all these things that I was working on with my clients that I knew how to do. So I just applied that to like smaller businesses or business professionals. And that's how my career as an entrepreneur got started.
Wow. I didn't even know half of that stuff. That's very interesting. Training your replacement. That had to be some super awkward moments there.
Yeah, but I didn't even know it. Like, I'm thinking I'm a team player. I'm showing you the ropes. But then I got let go, right? And thankful to my supervisor at the time, she let me know that that was going to happen sooner than later. Like, it wasn't a surprise to me.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think that was like, I think it was like late fall, and then like the next February was when I got let go. So I was kind of expecting it. But when you're working a full-time job, and you like, if I look back, I think everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
But for a while there, I had hoped that I was using my funds from my corporate job to start and brand my new business. But I didn't know that. Like, I didn't understand how much I needed to build and network and continue to find clients until I was on my own. So it's like every time as someone who has like a corporate job, and they have something they're passionate about, I'm like, come on, let's build your personal brand. Let's do this on the side. Like, you don't want to be, for lack of a better word, asked out like me, where like I needed the money, and I kind of like, I only had like a 2 months, I think, of like severance. So it was like, okay, like I got to build a business. I didn't have 2 months to build a business. So it took me a few like years to really hone it in, and obviously some personal work. And I really was able to value my time, my knowledge, my worth, and really say no to things that weren't for me. And that, I think, you don't know until you know it, right? Like, I have friends who are doing side hustles, and like they have to go through the things to learn the things on their own so that they continue to be resilient. So it's not I can provide you all the resources. This is the framework to build the business. This is how you do it. But until you're going through it, you can't learn that. And that's just, I think, the most people learn by doing, or like going through it, failing, getting back up again.
So when you decide to start doing your own business and be an entrepreneur, did you already have your heart set on, hey, I'm in the digital marketing space, I'm going to stick with this? Or did you kind of have a list of, hey, these are 5 or 6 things I think I'm really good at, I'll pick one of these? Like, how did you go about saying, this is my niche, I'm going to stick with this?
Yeah, that was the toughest part, I think, because I knew a lot of things as a web project manager, but I didn't have the core of what's needed to run. Like, I could have run like a website design agency, knowing everything that I did, but I didn't have the tools to host a bunch of websites because I didn't have the capital built up to host a bunch of websites. So it was kind of like, okay, I can set up your Facebook page, or I can help you create a logo, or I can, and that niche concept was very hard for me to define down, because at the time, all I wanted to do was help. And I still want to help. But now I understand, okay, I don't have to help everyone, or I can help people, but have like a real niche where I'm actually getting paid what I'm worth, and then help the other people along the way who don't have the budget all the time for me.
No, understood. And can you describe and kind of talk about, what is your business? What do you do right now currently? What's your business all about? Like, if somebody is to call or look up to your business, what are they getting out of it by working with you?
Yeah. So my what I say is, when someone says, so what do you do? I say, I always do my best. So and people are like, what does that mean? So I'm a marketing consultant that specializes in virtual events, on-site activations, and event strategy. So if you think about an event planner, I can do that. If you think about an event strategist, how are we going to execute an event, whether it's a virtual event, it's a small event with like 20 people, or I'm on a team with 100 people and we're executing a large event, I'm your person. And I bring that marketing background. So if you talk about, okay, we need to set up a domain that pushes, a smart domain, let's say Team MBS Media /freebies, it's going to go to like some, YouTube channel or something, and that's very like, okay, that's in the nitty gritty, but understanding those marketing tactics that were integrated into my brain at the agency, working for myself, and understanding kind of like the flow and the strategy of what to do. That's where my expertise comes in, because I'm not Googling, ooh, how do I do that? Like, it's very much like, hey, we can just get started on an action plan right away, or I can help you run the whole event. As you know, we've done some projects together and a live show. And right now we're doing recording, but this is an event. You have to send me a calendar invite. We have to send me a run of show. We have to talk about what the flow is going to be so that I can show up calm and just talk about my expertise. And I think that a lot of people are just like, oh, I'm going to do it. And it doesn't look branded. There's no planning behind it. And it's a bad representation of their business or their brand. So I do all the things from strategy to execution to repurposing. And I loop in AI into that because there's a lot of tools out there that will help you be more productive, help you be more efficient with all the things that you are creating, and allow you to spend more time with your friends and family. So I've been able to master that, and I'm proud to share it with other people now.
Now, that's a great topic, the AI thing. I feel like a lot of people are either on one side of the fence. Either you hate it, oh my God. Every time I hear about AI, I just see Will Smith telling his sergeant on iRobot, it's the damn robots, John. So where do you fall when it comes to AI? Like, I know for me, it's something that I have left it's the damn robots, John side. Now I'm on the, okay, I want to learn about these tools because they can help me, as you just said, have more free time and not just be stuck on hours doing projects that can be done by AI. So what is your feeling and how you approach AI?
Yeah, so I approach it and embrace it because it is going to help me be more present with my family without thinking I'm overwhelmed. The tools are there. If you think back pre-email days, people were like, okay, got to send a letter. You have to write the letter. You have to put it in. And I love handwritten notes. Okay, like send me some notes. Fine. But if you have to write an email and you're like saying, okay, I can't write an email now. Like, I'm going to have to wait 2 weeks for them to get the letter and then write back. Like, it's AI is essentially that. Like, you are speeding up your multiple processes that you already have, and reducing overwhelm. Now, there's a lot of corporate organizations that have not embraced it or have not put it into the workflow, and they're almost doing a disservice to their workforce because they're not empowering them to use it to be better in their jobs. I'm not interested in having people's jobs eliminated, but can you make it more efficient? Can you embrace these things that are coming out and be at the forefront of the conversation to enjoy it and like really see how it is working? I mean, when social media came out, no one wanted to do it, but now it's like part of our, like, you're a business owner, you better have social media, something. Like, I'm not saying post every day, and not use AI every day, but there are things out there that can empower you to be more present and do things that you love and be with your family more. We're at an advantage where we grew up with computers, and there's a lot of people that are not that way. And like, just sharing those things with people, it's like, wow, oh my God, I can do this better, or I can write a letter that's like, it's something in my head because I have so much overwhelm in my head, but it's something that I want to get out. Help me get that out of my head and more clear. And I'm going to embrace AI in that way.
No, I agree with you 100% on that one. We were just talking about before we started recording about how the show clips, not having to sit there and spend time doing it yourself. And I mean, we were trying to record and be focused and be present. You don't want to have to write down, okay, timestamp this, then I have to go back. Or if you're not even organized enough to write your timestamps, now you're going back and rewatching and scrubbing to find that perfect clip, when you can just find an AI tool that can do that. And you can spend that time doing something else, taking a walk, hike, whatever, calling a friend that you haven't spoken to in a long time. So like I said, I know for me personally, I've definitely gone from it's an evil thing to, hey, how can I use it to help me have more free time and be more present with the people who I care about? I'm definitely all about the AI for sure.
I can go on and on about the tools that you can use. Honestly, like, I learned about one on Monday, and like, it's actually, and I'll I don't know, maybe we have to have another show about specifically. Actually, I'm going to work on a project to like talk about AI tools that will help event professionals or business professionals. Because a lot of times you're not, it's too much. Like if you see
Yeah.
like diagrams of all the AI tools, and it becomes too much and people don't even want to embrace it because they're just like, okay, yeah, I use ChatGPT. No, let's think about other things that involve AI. When you do predictive text on your text messaging app, that's AI.
Yeah.
In a different way because it knows what you're about to say. That's a different application of this machine that's been learning all our behaviors over the years. Since 1955 was AI when it was first mentioned. So
No, I think it's only gonna improve, and I think it's only gonna help
yeah.
people. And I would like to think that you're gonna see more and more people coming on the side of, okay, this is a tool that I can use. How can it help me be better and be more efficient? I think you'll
Mhm.
see less of the, oh my gosh, this is the end of the world, the sky is falling type of
Yeah.
folks you see nowadays. You're always gonna have some, but I think those numbers will lessen as time goes on.
Yeah. And if we don't, I mean, there are people right now that are entering the workforce that just graduated in May that have used it their whole life
Yep.
or their whole career life, and they're coming in and they're standing out amongst so many other people, and you're like, okay, well, how can you, and I'm not saying every college student has, or they haven't applied all these tools, but they're more familiar with the vernacular of AI and the technology. So we got to get aligned more, right? You have a lot of
Yeah.
business acumen that's in the workforce, and they know all the hands-on stuff, and then you combine techies and put them together, and like, I think the innovations on that side can be mind-blowing if you really think about it.
Yeah. Plus, I also think post-COVID, at least I hope this is the way people are thinking, like I am. Post-COVID, a lot of people now, you want to spend that time with family and less about work. Like
Mm-hmm.
career still matters. Don't get me wrong. And like you
Yeah.
talked about earlier, there are people still have those conversations. Hey, what are you making a year? But that 9 to 5, people really want to be off at 5. They don't want to
Yeah.
stay there and work 60-hour work weeks, 70-hour work weeks. You still
Mm-hmm.
have people who think that way because that's the way they were kind of raised to be as workers.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot less people who want to do, hey, what can I do? I want to work less and have more time to do things I
Yeah.
love. I think that became a lot more important to a lot of people post-COVID for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was just reading a book, in the beginning of it, it's called Do Nothing. How to like stop overworking, overdoing, and overanalyzing, or something like that. And they were talking about how back in the olden days, when things were a little, I guess, more simple, but that's up for discussion. We all were entrepreneurs. Like if you talk about like someone working on the farm, they didn't go get in their car, go to the farm 9 o'clock, clock in, then they do their work till 5, they leave and they go home. They were on the farm whenever, and like, okay, we're going to tend to this, and then we're going to tend to this. And that was how they got by. Someone who worked non-corporate, right? Like a seamstress or someone, we're all ingrained with that entrepreneur spirit. It's a matter of pulling it out, right? We didn't have corporations, managing the schedule for the local, the local person working at the grocery store, or we didn't have that. So can we get back to that where we're enjoying more time with our loved ones and like time outdoors, or and loved ones include self, right? Like taking time with yourself too. If you're so caught up in your work all the time and you're not embracing these things that are available to you, you're never investing in yourself, which is going to catch up to you sometime.
Yeah, no, definitely. Good points. So when somebody is finished working with you, they've been a client, the event has passed, the event is over. What do you want that client to walk away with after having an experience of working with your business? Like in a perfect world, the client's walking away with what after working with you?
I would say peace. I think the whole idea that I kind of come into is it's chaotic, right? Like I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to make sure this is going on. And really we kind of hone it in from the beginning, like what's the purpose? And I think we even had this conversation before you started this project, like what's the purpose, right? What are you intending to do? And a lot of people will like, oh, I want to start this project. This is a cool idea. They're going to start it, but they don't think about the purpose or the format or how they're going to execute it and how they're not going to like. And I have so many ideas, right? But I don't execute on them because I want to make sure it has a purpose and is going to serve value and is not going to add overwhelm to me. So I think when we talk about tech specific things is reducing the overwhelm and allowing people to be more present and share their story and share their values, make an impact on people, because they're not thinking about all these things that are going on in their head and overwhelm and all the details and stuff, and really partnering with someone that can take all that chaos and enlighten them that it doesn't have to be so crazy, right? We can live a life of like abundance and not be like, oh my God, I'm running like 12-hour days. Like, I don't think that's attractive anymore when someone tells me that. I'm like, oh, wow, that's, when are you taking time for yourself? I'm always concerned about that.
No, you're definitely right. Something that you've mentioned a couple of times, and it's funny you mentioned it because I had the same conversation when I went back home to visit family, and that is the whole aspect of being present. The example for myself was, I know usually when you go back home, okay, I want to see my family, but I have these 12 friends I got to hang out with and do this and do that. And I know that when I went back home this last time, my sister was adamant, like, hey, the first day you come back, let's just make that about the family. Let's not be on the cell phone checking sports scores. Let's not post on Facebook that your location's home, because you know what's going to happen when you do that. All your friends are going to hit you up and be like, hey, let's go here, let's go there. So when you use the phrase be present, what's that mean to you?
Oh, wow. It's tattooed on me. I don't know if you can see in the video. It's right there. So It's a constant reminder. Being present can be many things. I mean, as simple as like you putting the phone down and like really just being present with the conversation and not checking sports scores, because the sports scores are going to be there whether you check them right away or 5 hours later, right? They're not going anywhere and they're going to be there. And I think it's also detaching from that outcome of what the sports score is, or what someone is texting you, or what is, what's going on in your email, right? And nothing is that important. I recently lost my father last year, and it accelerated that whole being present thing, because it was like, wow, when you strip everything away, like I went through a whole like down period of work, and all I realized was all I really wanted was to spend time with him in his final moments and my family. Like, that's it, right? And my friends, right? Whoever was present there. And it really didn't matter. My phone didn't mean anything. And I, like, even yesterday, I was like, oh, I'm going to leave my phone at home and we're going to go for a drive. I got home. Okay, I had a few messages, but nothing was that urgent. The only thing that I think I missed out on was taking pictures of what I was doing so I could remember them later on. But that can happen another time. And so I think when you relate those concepts of who you are to your business, or you can really figure out how that helps you in your work, I think you're more effective and impactful when you are actually there, and being honest with yourself when you are not present. Like, okay, I know someone's talking to me right now, but I'm not really paying attention. But let me say, hold up, I'm not listening to you. Give me 1 second and I'll be present with you in a little bit. And I think people are so afraid to say that because they want to be like, oh yeah, I'm here, there, and I'm listening, all this. It's impossible to do. Everyone loves multitasking. It's not possible to do it 100%. Right? You cannot do something 100% and then 100% listen to someone at the same time. Imagine having 2 podcasts running at the same time. There's no way you can hear both at the same time. It doesn't happen. We've glamorized multitasking, and I think that's no longer possible.
Yeah, I'll tell you that Saturday was tough. My anxiety was
Yeah.
was through the roof, and like you said, it's because I've just been conditioned that you got to always be doing something. Like if I'm sitting here
Yeah.
having a conversation with you, what am I missing? Who got traded?
Yeah.
What's the final score? Is that guy going to play? It was really really tough, but I will admit. Towards the evening time, I started to calm myself down, and I enjoyed myself having those conversations with
Yeah.
nieces and nephews, playing Uno and really playing Uno, not being like cell phone on the side and look what cards do I have again. But and
Yeah.
I think they appreciated that as well because I saw that my
Yeah.
nephew made it a point a couple of times to be like, "Hey, I'm really glad you're here." I was like, "Oh yeah, for sure." He was like, "No, like you're here." And I was like, "Oh, I see what he's saying. It's not
Yeah.
going to the corner and making a quick text message or whatever. I was just focused on them."
Yeah. And if you absolutely have something like that's urgent, I think people are more respectful when it is like, hey, I gotta step away and take this call, or like, I think I was late to our recording, but late is right. Like time is a construct. I was trying to let you know, but I wasn't trying to be rude. It was just like, oh, I was in another meeting and I had to like, decompress from that to then get on here. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
my hope is that everyone understands. And I think slowly, like you said, post-COVID, people have started realizing the importance of that. And hopefully we start shifting that in general.
No, I think we will because I mean, like you mentioned before, 5-10 years ago, it was a badge of honor to say, "Man, I got 4 jobs. I work 16 hours a day. When you're sleeping at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm writing articles or recording a podcast." And people looked at that like that was glamorous. I was like, "Man, I want to be like her or him when I grow up." And now it's kind of like, well, that's your choice to do that. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it the other way. Good luck with that. I hope you find some time for yourself. To your point.
Well, yeah, and when someone tells me that, I'm like, you're not charging enough. I'm like, because if you have to do all these 4 jobs just to like live, like you're not charging enough, or you're devaluing yourself, which is a whole nother podcast. And I think that I've done that early on in my career where I was just doing a bunch of things to get by because I was flattered by the fact that I was doing all these things and barely making enough money. Right.
Yeah,
but when I switch that mindset and I'm like, yep, no, I don't have that at all. Don't have that problem. So.
No, for sure. Now, my final question for you is something I've wanted to ask you for a long time because I was like, I really don't understand. I don't know where that came from. And that is, you are super passionate about, obviously, not just soccer, but Arsenal. I always wanted to know, where did the passion for football or soccer, whatever you want to call it, where'd that come from?
Yeah, it's always been in me. I guess, I've always been a sports person. I learned my sports love from my mom. My mom and was the catalyst behind us going to baseball games as a family. In high school, I went to Padres games with a friend of mine, and we would go, like, just her and I walk around, and we were high school kids, so that was the thing we did. Eye candy, all that, right? And then I became a big NFL fan, and I was really passionate about season ticket holder. Spent a lot of my time doing that. And then that changed when my team left, which we won't talk about that.
I literally wrote in my notes, don't mention that.
No, it's fine. I can. But, it was less of a priority because I didn't want to spend the time to invest going to a different city to see them. It wasn't a priority. That changed. It was a big change, but I still was into like the community behind sports. So I started following international soccer, football. It became a thing, but then I wanted to follow a team that was playing every year, right? Not every World Cup. So I started, in the most popular league at the time in the US, and I think still in the US, is the Premier League, which is in England. And I didn't have a team. So it was like, okay, let me try these out. I tried Everton because of their affiliation with Tim Howard at the time was a World Cup, right? So it was like, and Landon Donovan, there was a US connection. It was hard to watch them. They were not very good. And then another friend of mine who's a baseball fan was suggesting that I watch Arsenal because of Alexis Sanchez. So I became watching them, and that was this October it'll be like 5 years, I think. No, it's longer than that. Oh my god.
Lost
10
20%
years.
Arsenal fans.
10 years. 10 years. It's been 10 years as an Arsenal fan, and it really, when I break it down and tell stories about how Arsenal as a club but also a community of fans is really, picked me up in times when I'm like, okay, this is joy, but also understanding the detachment from the outcome of the game. Like I used to get mad at like when we lost, and I'm just like, it's just a game, it's supposed to be joyful, like let me look at the positives. And it sounds cliche, but it's like, at least we get, this is first world problems, like at least we get to watch football, right? I'm very grateful that I'm grateful that I got to go to Emirates Stadium 2 times. I hope to go next year. This is very much on my list, but I haven't even thought about that yet. Further than I want to go. But, and it's the concepts behind sport in general. They're very enlightening. They're very motivational. And I've really come to embrace one of the most recent slogans from Arsenal, which has also brought me people in my world that follow Arsenal as well. And it's become a commonality amongst business conversations. Like I'm connected to people. Just before this, I was having a conversation with someone I recently connected with on LinkedIn that's an Arsenal fan. Now we might not do business together, but now there's that, oh, like they're an Arsenal fan, like I might do business with them because it's that commonality. It's like you're from, like when you meet someone from the same town, you start talking about like, oh, remember that store? It's like something that brings you together, because there's so many people that do what I do, but it adds that extra layer. But the slogan, back to the slogan, is and I've been following it a lot this year. It came out this past season. Always forward and ignore the noise. No. Enjoy the journey. Ignore the noise. Always forward. I got it mixed up. And that is also a slogan for business, right?
Yeah,
if you're thinking about how your journey is as a business owner, and you can attest to this too, Joe, you're not really focused on the people that have told you, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Right? You're like, I'm passionate about this. I'm going to keep doing it. Or, I've had people, why are you not working like for a job? And I'm like, what? Like, I don't think right now I can't even work for a company full time because I have projects lined up through the end of August and even some into October. So it's like, are you going to be flexible with my schedule that I've already committed to? Probably or am not. I going to just, like they're not, right? Yeah. So it's like, I'm just going to embrace it. Ignore the noise of people saying like, oh, what are you doing? Why are you doing all this? And they don't really say that anymore. But early on in your journey, people will say that. So it's, the correlations between a lot of these sport slogans and, like even Nike is one of the biggest brands. It's sports affiliated. It says, just do it. Like, does that not align with a lot of the things that we are as creators? Just do it. Let's do it. Like it's very, sure. You start seeing the alignment on a lot of things in your life, especially if you're a sports person, or it could be anything like hiking, right? Like you're a hiker and you're constantly challenging yourself to get to the next peak. And that's the same thing as business, right? You're not just walking along and it's like, whatever, I don't care. You're like, I got to get up there. Right. So, I love talking about it because it's more than just the end result for me. It's become part of my persona.
No, very cool. I like that answer. I'd say the same thing for myself too. I was that guy too that when the team lost, it was super, super angry, or if the team won, it was the greatest thing ever. And then I don't know, I can't even put my finger on it. It just became a point where it's like we lost. It was like, okay, but the people I was able to watch the game with,
Right.
It was exciting, good conversations. You always meet new people, whether you're at the event or at a bar.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to meet somebody you didn't know before, and you'll make some kind of new connection or a deeper connection with somebody through the sporting events. I've definitely changed a lot because I used to be that guy. Oh, when the Yankees lost, leave me alone for like a day. I got to recover. You think I might have lost a family member sometimes, especially if it's like a playoff game or championship game. But now I'm kind of like, the bummed out phase is a couple seconds. It's no longer days for me. So I can definitely relate to you on that one.
For sure. Well, you have 27 championship rings to like savor. So
I do. And I like how every time there's a bad moment for Chelsea, you seem to always be the reminder. I appreciate that.
I've toned down though. I don't think I really have.
That is true.
I haven't there's not a lot of banter because I'm like, I don't want to be that person because I've been poked at when, seasons pass and just like by Man City fans. I'm like, I don't want to hear from you. You're not a fan to me.
I feel like they're becoming there's a lot of people who have been Man City fans for like a month. I don't know how many true blue Man City fans there are out there. I feel there's a lot of people who just, they're winning now. That's my team. Who played for them in 2012? Oh, yeah, exactly. You're a lifelong fan. But the bandwagon people are always going to be there. But I definitely want to thank you, Marisa, for being the inaugural guest on Hello, My Name Is. You made it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm always encouraging of your projects. I support Team NBS. One of the first to be on Team NBS, and it's amazing how far you've come. And I'm happy to be alongside, rooting you on.
I think I want to say you're like member number 2. Yeah, I think it was like Monty, and then right after Monty was you, and and here we are, still doing the damn thing. And I'm excited to see you too and your progression and what you're doing. And we'll have all the links to your socials and to your business in the show descriptions as well. If you're somebody like me who doesn't know a lot about live streaming, this is the person you need to get in contact with, because like she said, she'll make all that chaos kind of go away. Get things organized and get things streamlined for you. So all you have to do is just show up and talk, which is what everybody wants to do anyway. Everybody wants to hit the board and talk, but nobody wants to do all of the legwork, or they have no idea where to start when it comes to getting things organized. So this is a person that's created a business that can do all that for you. So definitely check it out for sure.
Thank you. I'm going to add your name to my list of video testimonials because I need to get that recorded and repurpose.
Look at that. Always looking for the brand. Never stops unless we're being present. Being present. You should have seen me on Saturday. Oh my God. I was like, what? Where's my phone? People are doing things. I don't know about it. But it's something I'll do more and more of, and I'll get used to it. But very honestly, I want to thank you so much for hopping on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Joe.
Oh, absolutely. So you guys have been watching Hello, My Name Is. Make sure you subscribe, share the show with a friend. As always, I'm Joe Cardoso, owner and operator of Team MBS Media. This show will be coming out to you on a weekly basis. I have guests lined up already, people getting in contact with me. So I'm very excited for all the different kind of conversations we're going to have. Our next guest actually is going to be a chef. So I'm excited for that conversation for sure. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time.